My name is Tom Hunt. I'm a biologist, survivalist, and all-round adventurer. I've always been fascinated by the limits of human capabilities.
I don't know what's going on. This doesn't make sense.
What people can achieve when they break from convention. So I'm setting out on a mission to find incredible people who claim to possess unique abilities. Powers that push the known limits of the mind.
When you just see it happen in front of you, it's incredible.
And body. And defy the laws of conventional science. I'll get an insight into their worlds and witness their abilities firsthand.
That's as far in as your ear. That's the middle of your skull.
I'll use my own scientific knowledge and call in experts to discover what lies behind their skills.
It was so incredible to watch.
I want to find out just what it takes to become an extraordinary human. On my search for extraordinary humans, I'm on the trail of two more people who claim to have unique abilities. While circus performers of old were held in high esteem for their daredevil stunts, the performers I'm on my way to meet claim to go way beyond normal human capabilities. The first man I investigate is an acrobat born with some kind of death wish. I want to know how he can balance on the edge of the world's most terrifying drops without feeling any fear. Then I track down a real-life Iron Man who appears to have a body of steel. He claims to endure bone-crushing weights, and yet somehow survives. My quest to find extraordinary humans has brought me to Andalusia in Spain, the birthplace of bullfighting.
Fear is one of the most primitive and powerful of the human emotions. People can become addicted to it or scared of it. Now, I've come to a region that's famous for its bravery, and I'm about to meet a man who's taken fear to a whole new level.
I'm Eski Laroni. I'm 35 years old, coming from Norway, and I'm a performer of balancing acts.
Eski claims to have complete control of his fear, enabling him to perform incredible balancing feats. But Eski is no ordinary acrobat. He performs stunts like no one else on Earth. I want to find out if he has some kind of death wish, or could he be completely immune to fear. But he claims what he does is extreme art.
To me, this is all about creating pictures. It's not about walking the wire, the longest stretch on the highest. It's all about art.
Eski asked me to meet him near the infamous Puente Nuevo bridge, where he's about to attempt his latest deadly stunt. To avoid the local authorities, he has to do this at the crack of dawn. And Eski's life will literally be in the balance. To get the best view, I've been told to go to a point on the other side of the gorge. The bridge spans the 120-metre sheer drop. Eski is going to stack 3 ordinary chairs on the very edge of the bridge, then do a handstand on them. Now, I've seen acrobats carry out similar feats, but incredibly, Eski's going to do it with absolutely no safety equipment.
I cannot believe he's going to do this.
With nothing below him but jagged rocks, one small mistake could prove fatal.
My heart is absolutely racing. Oh my God, he's just about to start.
Once Eski has stacked the last chair, he prepares to balance. Now for the moment of truth. If the chairs topple over, there's no doubt Eski will die.
This is unreal. Oh my.
I can't believe he is doing this without a harness. Up close, you can see the physical strain it's taking to maintain control. Perhaps the chairs are stronger than they look, but even so, from here, I feel terrified just watching him. After nearly a minute, Eski comes to a finish and finally climbs down.
I cannot believe I've just seen that. I've seen some things in my time before, but that is well and truly up there. Quite literally. I've got to go and meet this guy.
Despite being millimeters from a 120-meter drop, there was absolutely no trickery involved. Eski really is risking his life each time he performs insane stunts like this. I've got to find out if Eski is just a daredevil or if he's totally immune to fear.
So Eski, I want to know, like, where did this start for you? How did you learn such a unique skill?
Well, I guess all this started when I was about 5 years old. We had a yoga teacher. I remember this guy, he impressed me a lot with his skills. He was able to do a handstand, a headstand, and many other things with his body. But I'd never seen anything like this before.
What's the favorite environments of yours to go and do these stunts?
I prefer the nature in my natural surroundings with some amazing sceneries, like you got drops of 1,000 meters.
But does he feel any fear when facing death?
And tell me what it feels like when you're up there. Are you calm or do you get nervous?
I get nervous, but these are techniques that I've learned over a long time, and I think it's absolutely natural to get nervous on my behalf as a human being, because you get in touch with this fine border or limit between life and death.
Okay.
You get to experience without being in the middle of it by yourself.
Yeah.
To me, it's talk about living 100%. It's not talk about challenging the death at all.
It's all about living.
It's all about living.
Wow, okay. He says he feels fear, but he's not just a thrill seeker.
If you're pushing the limits, what inspires you?
Well, not first of all to push the limits, but to create art and end up with a nice picture. Photography. Mm-hmm. And it all starts like some sort of vision that I have. I can see a location, I see an action being done in this location, and my satisfaction is when I can hold the picture in my own hands and see it realized.
The stunts in Eski's extreme art are jaw-dropping, not to mention seriously dangerous. Many famous performers before him have perished carrying out similar high-risk stunts.
I want to actually try a little bit, if you can maybe teach me a bit, but where would you start?
So balance is quite much about where you look, how you're able to control every single muscle in your body,
Right.
and how you distribute the weight about one center point.
Okay.
So I'll show you one.
Yeah. Without a moment's hesitation, Eski balances on one hand, just millimeters from a deadly 100-meter cliff edge.
Try to rise them. And the one maneuvering now is mostly the arm, but also the legs.
Wow. And so you're thinking about the whole of the body distribution, the weight of your arms in order to counterbalance each other from a central point.
Yeah, and what you're trying to avoid is that you flip over.
Yeah.
In this case, it's going to be dangerous, 100 meters fly.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to walk over there
Okay.
and let you try.
While Eski seemed fine doing that on the ledge, I definitely would rather have a go without a 100-meter drop below.
Wow.
So we find a spot suitable for a beginner.
So I'm going to show you a simple one.
Yeah.
Try first with two arms. Don't like this. Open your legs. And then look up and try to rise your legs.
Ah, okay. You make it look too easy. I'm going to make a hash of this, but I'll have a go. Right, so... Right. Wide legs.
And now try to lift your legs. And then raise your legs.
The strength needed just to balance is immense. When paralyzed with fear, it must become almost impossible.
That is so intense, like just a few seconds.
It really is, huh? Then you're gonna hold it for half a minute.
Wow, you are seriously well trained at this. Like, do you use different shapes for the different props that you mentioned?
Yeah, I got different positions that I'm trained to do on the different kind of props.
Yeah.
So it's like drawing or taking a picture. You compose it piece by piece.
In your mind first.
Yeah, in your mind first, and then after you go ahead and do it.
Eski's ability is very impressive. While it's obvious that physical fitness plays a massive part in what he does, I'm curious about his mental strength. It's almost like he refuses to acknowledge the danger. Is he deluding himself? Switching off the fear? Or perhaps he has some kind of death wish? But what allows Eski to carry out these incredible feats? It's clear that from a very early age, he has trained himself to completely control his mental and physical responses to fear, allowing him to perform such daredevil acts with complete confidence. But what does he experience?
To be honest, there is no space for thinking about anything else than doing the right thing and surviving. Your eyes are focusing on one certain point. Everything around becomes blurry. Sound-wise, you are experiencing it like being in the middle of two radio stations. And sometimes this sound follows me for a day or two after.
In order to really explore what gives him this control, I've arranged to meet with Dr. Hans Markovich, a leading neuropsychologist. He's agreed to carry out a cutting-edge psychological profile on both of us, used to analyse fear and identify psychopathic and suicidal tendencies. But we won't be carrying this out in the usual lab setting. He's asked us to meet him at El Caminito del Rey, a walkway pinned to the walls of a narrow gorge known as the world's most dangerous footpath. I want to find out if Eski really does have a death wish.
Hans, why have you brought us here today?
Well, you should experience how it is to be in a, well, we can say scary mountain area, and we'll see whether you experience a bit of fears.
The first thing we need to do is measure our vitals in a resting, calm situation. He fits me with monitors, which will take my pulse rate and my breathing rate.
What results have we got from that test, Hans?
You are indeed relaxed, so pulse rate is stable, the same is with the breathing.
Yeah, feel relaxed at the moment. So, Eski, your go?
The doctor then gets Eski hooked up to his monitors and gathers the same base readings for him.
This shows you are more or less perfect in a resting state.
With both of us kitted out and feeding back results to his computer, we're on to the real test.
And now I'll lead you directly to the mountain area, and there we'll have a bit more of a challenge.
So you're setting me up for a very scary scenario right now.
Well, we'll see how scary.
Hey, this is his job. It's not necessarily my job.
Okay.
The Caminito del Rey footpath was closed in 2001 after 5 deaths.
Okay, then we go top the mountain.
It's a boarded walkway that hangs to the edge of a sheer cliff face with a 105-metre vertical drop to the river below and sheer rock walls looming above. Fear expert Dr. Markovich says this infamous footpath is the perfect place to test his subjects' physiological responses to fear. Thrill seekers from across the globe have travelled here to test their nerve, and video footage from their exploits shows why it has earned its notoriety. In fact, people have died whilst attempting to capture these images. So, due to the dangerous nature of the path, our camera crew have been left behind. But they've hooked me up with a small camera to record our progress. As a pioneer of fear research, Dr. Markovic may be accustomed to being exposed to this level of danger, but I'm not. Walking this path is certainly a nerve-wracking experience. With gaps between the planks and nothing but a thin wire to hold onto, I'm definitely feeling myself get more and more nervous as we climb. As the doctor leads us further and further down this notoriously deadly path, his equipment is monitoring our body's responses to the danger. And all the while, the doctor is asking us a series of carefully designed questions to assess our psychological approach to fear and death. Eventually, we reach a hanging bridge. Suspended between two sides of the gorge, it's the smallest and scariest bridge I've ever stood on. My chest is pounding with fear. The readings from my heart rate monitor must be off the scale. Finally, we reach the other side and the end of the challenge. Dr. Markovic now examines both of our physiological responses. My heart rate had increased to over 140 beats per minute, but amazingly, Eski's data showed zero fear response to the world's deadliest path. But the doctor says the handrail meant that Eski knew he was at no real risk of death. So to scientifically prove that Eski is immune to fear, the doctor wants to retest him, whilst his life is truly on the line, and this time with no safety measures. Eski says he has the perfect demonstration where any mistake would mean certain death.
Eski's just warming up, and we're going to see his ladder stunt, which I haven't seen before. We saw the chairs earlier, and Hans is with me to basically see it for the first time.
Eski has rigged up a ladder to protrude from this terrifying rock ledge. He will attempt to suspend himself horizontally over this 300-meter vertical drop for a full minute, whilst the doctor keeps an eye on the heart rate monitor, searching for any sign of fear. With no safety equipment of any sort in place, one false move or lapse in concentration could easily prove fatal. As Eski gets to the top of the ladder, I can feel adrenaline coursing through my veins. If anything will test his ability to suppress fear, this is definitely it. As Eski extends his body out over the sheer drop, his extraordinary self-control is fully apparent. For any normal person, the fear would be paralyzing and make any movement almost impossible, let alone attempting this. This is truly extraordinary.
That is just something. How do you feel? Good?
Yeah, I feel good now. A little bit exhausted.
My heart is in my mouth just watching you. It's so far down. It must be, it's hundreds of meters down there.
Yeah, but it's a free feeling. Everybody's dreaming about flying. And this is the closest I can get to the rim without parachuting or buying a set of wings.
Wow, wow. What do you think, Han?
Yeah, very, very impressive. I mean, I saw you the first time today, but really very impressive. I mean, that needs really exact and great concentration.
Thank you.
And power as well. I'm so nervous. Like, I think I'm a bit higher than you are. Like, are you genuinely calm?
I don't think so. But I learned how to control myself in certain situations. So this is what I do best in life.
It's so exciting for me to watch you, and it's just the most extraordinary and peculiar and unique thing to see. It's incredible.
Thanks for saying that.
What I've just seen Eski do is beyond belief. That was the ultimate display of fearlessness. I came here thinking Eski must have a death wish to attempt the things he does. But it's time to find out what Dr. Markovic's results will reveal. And when I see the heart rate data, Eski's ability to control his fear is clear. Just walking on the path sent my vitals soaring. But Eski's heart rate and breathing rate showed almost no increase, remaining below a normal person's resting rate, even though he was hanging over a 300-meter vertical drop. But it's the data from the doctor's psychological profile that uncovers something totally unexpected. Psychologically, Eski is actually much less of a risk taker than I am.
Hang on a second, are you trying to tell me that he is health conscious but is happy to dangle himself over the edge of a cliff or off a bridge?
Yes, that I do. He's very conscious about his own health, while you very little.
Well, I got to keep fit, I got to keep healthy to be able to perform the way I do, because it's so extreme that you can't allow yourself to catch a cold or to get food poisoned or anything like that.
Yeah.
Because then your body no longer works 100%, which is required for this kind of performance.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The results show that he is concerned, that he is not risky, that he is well thinking what he's doing and well planning apparently. So this is counter to my simple expectations.
It's Eski's ability to perform these feats despite understanding the risks that has amazed the doctor.
I thought it was going to be more risk-taking and, you know, more of a sort of go with the wind type thing, you know, being a bit of a daredevil.
That I thought as well. Yeah.
But actually the level of control and focus, but also the level of enjoyment that you get out of it as well, is something really fascinating.
Yes, it is.
So we've discovered Eski wasn't born without a sense of fear or with some kind of death wish. But through training, he has made himself immune to his fear, controlling his physical responses, enabling him to perform feats like no one else on Earth.
Getting to know Eski over the last few days has been a personal pleasure of mine, but mostly it's been a surprise. He's not necessarily in it for the adrenaline buzz. He's in it because he's an artist.
I don't think there are any other human beings on this earth that perform to such an extreme that I do, and especially not with the same kind of goal that I have. What really drives me is to get as close as possible with real life to the image that I created up in my head.
His stunts are extraordinary, but the man that sits behind it was the most fascinating thing for me.
Next up, I go in search of a man rumoured to have a body of steel. What he can do challenges everything I know about the limits of the human body. He claims to withstand bone-crushing weights that would kill any normal human being. I'm heading north to track him down and put him to the test. Deep in the Rioja region of provincial Spain, Logroño is far from the typical tourist area, meaning that finding people who speak English can be tricky. So I've arranged to meet a local translator, Sebastian, to help me track down a very unique individual.
Sebastian, come. Thank you so much for meeting me in this quite remote place of Spain.
Welcome to Logroño. Bienvenido a Logroño.
The man I want to find claims to have an indestructible chest.
Me llamo Eduardo Aramayo.
My name is Eduardo Aramayo, and I'm a welder by trade. But I also perform stunts and do shows, where I endure the largest weights possible being put on my abdomen.
Unsurprisingly, for a man who claims to have the toughest chest on Earth, Sebastian tells me he can often be found working out in a nearby gym.
Hola, I'm Tom.
Hola, Eduardo.
I'm glad I found you because I've heard that you can take the most incredible weights on your body, and I want to find out whether this is true, or I want to find out more about it.
My record for putting weights on my chest is actually 1,483 kilos.
On your chest? And where does the weight go?
It goes on the chest, the rib cage, and on the abdomen.
This sounds incredible. Is this a skill that you've always had, or you have to train a lot for it?
I've been training for a long, long time. I've been doing exercises for making myself stronger. And I've learned a technique from a teacher from Thailand. It's been a long time.
Wow, because it sounds superhuman. It sounds like this should not be possible.
Eduardo tells me and Sebastian that he's currently training for a stunt he's going to be doing later on today, and that I can actually help him out.
Okay.
I have no idea what to expect. I've seen people lift large weights before, but placing them directly on their abs? This must require some serious muscle strength to prevent irreversible damage to his internal organs. As his trainer lifts 20-kilo weights onto his body,
This is safe.
I think each will surely be the last. But they keep coming.
Yes, he's okay.
¿Está bien, no?
He's up to 180 kilos now, and they're still piling up.
This is a lot of pressure right on the organs.
Mucha presión.
If that wasn't enough, Eduardo indicates he wants me to stand on too.
Right, are you sure?
¿Estás seguro, no?
Right, okay. Oh my God, this is really... Oh my God.
This is insane. Eduardo's loaded with 200 kilos of weights, plus all 75 kilos of me, and he barely seems to be straining. Despite the extreme pressure, somehow it looks like he's still able to control his breathing and withstand the huge weight.
Whoa. Oh my God, these are 44 pounds each. Wow.
Wow, dice, impresionante.
This is on the soft, it's the organs. Because I thought it was going to be more on the chest using the rib cage. I didn't realise
that it was nothing. It was not big.
Really?
Not big.
Well, that's
So he did
10%.
No, he did not need to use his rib cage. So he did it with air because it's not so much weight for him. It's for a warm up.
Really? Well, I can't wait to see what's happening later on then, if that's a warm-up.
The best is still yet to come.
Well, I definitely agree that wasn't something just any human could do. But why does Eduardo choose to put his body through this?
Evidently, I've got to have something special to be able to do this. Some people call it mental, but I don't call it mental. What I call it is pride. To be able to demonstrate the capacity of my body to do these things. I'm proud to show people what my body can withstand. It's made a lot of people happy, and that makes me happy.
Que seguiré hasta que mi cuerpo aguante. Seguiré haciendo feliz a mucha gente. Eso me hace a mí feliz.
Eduardo says that stunt in the gym was nothing more than a warm-up. He's asked us to meet him at a friend's garage, where he's going to show me something a little more indicative of what he can really do. Eduardo claims he can withstand the weight of the back wheel of this flatbed truck. But this time, rather than just his abs taking the weight, his ribs will also take the strain, putting pressure on his heart and lungs. That just sounds insane, not to mention seriously dangerous. I've got to see this.
Hola.
Hola. Bien.
This is the truck?
Este es.
Wow, okay. It's quite a bit bigger than I thought. How much does it weigh?
In total, 3,000 kilograms. It's safe, I'm very focused, and I'm going to give you a good show.
Okay, you feel good?
Te encontrarás bien, ¿no?
Perfecto.
In comparison now, me standing on you earlier seems nothing. I was a bit worried about that.
Esto es totalmente diferente.
It's a different
Totalmente
story,
distinto.
It's a different thing.
Yeah.
Es más serio, esto ya más serio, ya requiere más concentración.
It's more serious, huh?
Right.
It's really he needs to be focused. He needs to be concentrated for doing it well.
I'm very aware that all of the internal organs, the liver, the lungs, the heart, is on the inside. This kind of stunt unnerves me slightly, I think. But if you're feeling confident...
Bueno, eso es lo que ahora yo...
Eduardo can clearly sense my apprehension, so he tries to explain to me how he intends to withstand the huge weight of the truck.
La capacidad pulmonar, llevar el aire más allá de los pulmones y concretamente en la zona de abdominal.
He's saying that he's putting up like a cushion of protection with air in his body to protect his lungs, to protect his inner organs.
Right.
It's an protection.
Okay, good. Well, if he feels good, this is pretty far out for me.
Bueno, soy un profesional, he hecho estas cosas varias
He's
veces.
professional stuntman, and he's doing this thing.
I know, I don't want to seem apprehensive or worried, but this is quite a big deal.
Before he attempts this extraordinary feat, the truck needs to be lifted into position on the winch. All 3,000 kilos of it. Whilst Eduardo gets himself ready for his biggest stunt yet. He's about to take it to the next level. I'm pretty sure this is a bad idea, but Eduardo's convinced he can do it. Your ribs form a protective cage encasing delicate organs such as your heart and lungs. But these bones are fragile and can easily be broken, even by a violent sneeze. So the weight of a truck should easily crush any human rib cage. But Eduardo claims he's developed a unique breathing technique that makes his chest uncrushable. He says he packs his body full of air and somehow has the strength to keep the air in his lungs. That's what will protect him from being crushed by the huge weight from the truck. When he's ready, he gets into position. Eduardo has just a foam mat to protect him, but it won't help support the weight of the truck. Once it's in the right position, I can see the back weight of it settle straight onto his ribs and abs. Eduardo seems to pulse his muscles and keep taking in breaths of air. The pressure from this should be enough to do him some serious damage. But he seems to be withstanding it. After 25 seconds, he makes a signal for the truck to be lifted. That was amazing. I'm not surprised Eduardo feels dizzy.
The truck, came down and it was... And I watched the chain go slack and you were taking the full force. That was just, it is superhuman. It's extraordinary. It doesn't make sense to me. This should not be possible for the human body.
I can't quite believe what I've just witnessed. Eduardo's breathing technique meant he was able to withstand the back wheels of a truck resting straight on his chest and abdomen, well over 500 kilos. He seems to have come out totally unscathed, but he doesn't want to stop there. Eduardo says he's going to show me that he can take double that weight directly on his chest, in the form of a crushed car. But before he attempts his final stunt, he needs to prep, and he says he'll let me in on his secret. A diet rich in wine and meat. I'm hoping I'll find out if what Eduardo tells me is true. Perhaps the food and wine of the region has helped to build up his strength.
Well, as you can see, my body recovers very fast. That's probably my main strong point. So as long as it keeps on recovering, I will go on and try to do more things. In risk, there is pleasure. You know, I get pleasure from risk.
So Eduardo does get a kick out of his stunts. But his oldest friend, Matthias, says he was born with an extraordinary drive to always push his body's own limits further and further.
That Eduardo really likes to challenge himself. He likes to be better than himself, not to be better than a rival. So the competition he has is a competition with himself. The battle in his mind and the control. He has to have control of all the time. He cannot have any doubt. He cannot have any weak moments because it could have consequences.
Wow, that must make you feel incredible.
Sí, y siempre seguro de mí mismo.
And he always feels secure and safe about himself.
I'm starting to believe that this diet and lifestyle could give Eduardo huge mental and physical strength. But can it really make his lungs strong enough to enable him to take the weight of an entire car on his chest? Before Eduardo can attempt the car stunt, we're heading to a trauma expert to ensure his abdomen didn't suffer any internal damage from the weight of the truck. Dr. Javier Ardanza x-rays Eduardo's ribcage to look for any possible fractures that could shatter under the weight of his next challenge. I also want him to search for any sign of superhuman lung power using a respirometer. Sebastian and I wait to hear the outcomes.
So I'm interested in the results.
Son absolutamente normales.
Dr. Ardanza says that according to the x-rays, Eduardo's chest and ribs have no fractures and still look completely normal, despite regularly being subjected to enough force to crush bone. There are some slight defects on his spine, but nothing unusual for a man of Eduardo's age.
So there's no damage from the truck stunt?
No, radiográficamente no hay ningún daño.
Good.
In the x-ray you cannot see anything at all.
Okay.
The doctor also wants to examine Eduardo's heart in case of any irregularities that could be exacerbated by the pressure of placing a 1-ton car on his chest.
El corazón late absolutamente normal.
Finally, with nothing abnormal about his heart rate, the doctor wants to check the muscles in Eduardo's chest for any tears or weaknesses.
Bien. Ponte bien.
I'm checking for the muscles inside, between the ribs, to search for any areas of pain.
¿Qué? Tampoco te duele, ¿no?
Still taking.
Está absolutamente normal. Puedes darle. Dale tú.
So his health is perfectly normal. The x-rays, there's no damage from yesterday.
No.
No.
I'm amazed that Eduardo's chest seems to have suffered no injuries from the truck stunt. He says that it's the air in his lungs that protects his body from the huge weights on his chest. He can keep the air in his lungs despite the downward force of the wheel trying to squeeze it out of his body. But to withstand the weight of a truck, surely he must have some kind of unique lung physiology. Perhaps the results of his respirometer test will explain if there's something that sets Eduardo apart.
Corresponde a un deportista, pero absolutamente normales, sin nada extraordinario.
He's saying that in the peak flow meter test, and they found out that he has good values, okay, but they are high values, but this would be normal for a sportsman.
So his lungs aren't any bigger or any more powerful?
No.
No.
In your opinion, with someone being able to take a truck onto their body, would you expect to see some sort of damage with over 1,000 pounds of weight on them?
En una persona normal nos hubiéramos quedado como una hoja de papel.
He's saying a normal person would be like a sheet of paper.
Okay, and what about all of our internal organs that we need the most? The liver, the lungs, the kidneys, the heart.
The problem is not the weight, the problem is the pressure. And the organs which are on the back side are better protected than the organs he has on the front sides, which would be the liver, which would be the lungs. The lungs actually can explode if he's not doing it well.
So from your medical opinion, you certainly don't recommend this as an activity?
En absoluto.
No.
No.
Eduardo may have no broken bones, but the doctor warned him that the pressure he needs to create inside his body to fight the force of a 1-ton car could rupture his vital organs and is potentially fatal. Coming up, I have one more chance to see Eduardo's extraordinary skill firsthand. He wants to push himself even further to cement his position as an extraordinary human. So he's brought us to a local scrapyard for a stunt that I fear could well prove too much. Eduardo believes that he can take the weight of this entire crushed car on his chest and survive.
Eduardo. Hello.
I'm not so sure.
Is this it? Seriously?
Esto es, ¿no? Seriamente.
How much is this weigh?
¿Cuánto pesará?
Alrededor de 1000 kilos.
More or less 1,000 kilos.
Are you sure? You're feeling good, strong?
¿Tú te sientes bien, no? ¿Estás seguro y te sientes fuerte?
Sí, sí.
I'm feeling good, and I'm feeling strong. I'm a little bit worried about the metal. It might pop out and cut me.
And so what's the setup? We've got the mats, and how's it going to work?
Bueno, yo me voy a tumbar ahora en el tatami.
I'm going to be using the mats for protection. One on the floor to protect my spine. And I'll also be using a second mat to place on my chest to prevent the sharp metal from cutting through to my skin.
The weight Eduardo is planning to withstand with his chest is quite extraordinary.
Well, over the last few days, I've got to like you. So please, as long as you're confident and be safe, like, good luck. This is possibly the most dangerous thing that I've ever been part of. That is a whole crushed car. We're trying to negotiate how it's going to go on top of Eduardo's chest. Seriously don't feel right about this, but he's getting it set up, he's feeling confident, and we're going to see what happens. And I hope what happens is that he's still alive at the end of it.
With everybody ready, Eduardo gets into position. Due to the razor-sharp edges protruding from the crushed car, Eduardo will be using 2 mats for protection, but they won't take any of the weight. A medical team is on hand to help minimize the risk of a fatal injury. They hook Eduardo up to an ECG machine so they can keep a close eye on his heart rate and vitals. On top of this, there'll be 2 key assistants who'll be managing the stunt, controlling when the weight will be released and lifted again. With a few deep breaths, Eduardo signals that he's ready. There's tension in the air as they lift the car into position. Any normal human would be crushed by such a large weight, forcing all of the air out of the body, causing the lungs to explode and the rib cage to collapse. But Eduardo is going to attempt to use his extraordinary lung strength to keep the air in his body. But is he strong enough to withstand such a huge weight? Once released, the full 1,000 kilo weight of the crushed car will rest entirely on his body. With the crane in place, Eduardo is ready. Eduardo is withstanding the weight. But then the unthinkable happens. The giant lump of metal rolls down onto his legs. His assistants act fast and have the crane remove it, but not before the damage has been done. Eduardo is in obvious pain and the paramedics rush in to assist. it becomes apparent that Eduardo has seriously hurt his right knee. The paramedics are working hard, but Eduardo still can't move his leg.
Wow. He actually dislocated his knee. He took the full weight of the car on his chest, and then it rolled off and popped his knee out. I've just seen a man take a full car on his body. That was one of the most incredible things I think I've ever seen.
After an anxious wait, Eduardo finally manages to move his knee.
You're still alive. You good?
Oh, yeah.
That was amazing. Eduardo took the entire weight of a car, a full 1,000 kilos, on his chest and survived. Eduardo has well and truly completed this challenge, but as a precaution, the paramedics want to check him over and make sure there are no long-term effects on his knee. But thankfully, due to Eduardo's unbelievable fitness and incessant training of his whole body, he has already recovered from the stunt. Incredible.
Wow, what a guy. You should not be alive, but you are, and I'm glad.
No debería estar vivo, pero menos mal que tal.
You are crazy, you're awesome, and you're one of the most unique men I've ever met in my whole life.
On this leg of my journey, I've met two truly extraordinary people. Through discipline and dedication, Eski has trained himself to suppress not only his emotional responses to fear, but also the normally uncontrollable physical responses, allowing him to perform death-defying stunts like no other. Then, Eduardo completely blew my mind. Firstly, I witnessed him take on 200 kilos of weights.
This is safe.
And me. Next, he stepped it up and put himself under a truck. Before finally taking on an entire car. 1,000 kilos of scrap metal. If that's not the ultimate demonstration of physical control, then I don't know what is. Join me next time on my quest to uncover more extraordinary humans.